Imagine you're not even an all-star in an NBA season, right? And you get into the playoffs and then you hit 4 straight game winners in 4 straight series to get to the NBA Finals and one in the NBA Finals. That's a lot of pressure. A lot of people are probably putting that on Tyrese right now, and that honestly could be a big reason why he was not that effective in game 2 is because I feel like that level of legendary that he has reached with this little stretch of game winners is probably getting to the kid. I mean, he's very young. He was not that good. Like, he hasn't felt the stardom quite yet to the level that he's getting now. That messes with your mental. And I feel like that's something to think about when we talk about this recap of game 2 of the NBA Finals, Pacers versus Thunder. I kind of predicted this, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I predicted it on TikTok. I said that the Thunder were going to come back and one big run would have ended it. That big run came around the second quarter, halftime area, when they just could not stop scoring and the Pacers could not stop missing or getting blocked or getting a turnover. And then all of a sudden, what was a really close game became like 20. They did not let off the gas this time. They didn't let the Pacers come back at all. We'll talk about why that's the case, but we'll start with the Thunder. I think the biggest story with the Thunder was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He put up great numbers on great efficiency, and, the numbers were great. But we see that about every day. And we saw that last game, too. I mean, he played fine last game. He played really 38 points in a debut, third most points in a debut in the finals in NBA history. But this was the better game. This was the better game for him because of two things. One, his drive and kick was on point this game. Constantly, he made the defense collapse with his drives, and he didn't try and finish. He looked out, and he made the playmaking move. Secondly, the manner in which he got his buckets, the timeliness of these buckets were amazing. I mean, his midi was automatic. It was one of the greatest scoring performances I have seen, and he didn't score as much as he did in game 1, but I still loved it. I loved it. I loved to see it from him. On top of that, the Thunder played a lot better, and they supported him a lot better than they did last game. Chet finally showed up. We needed that. Caruso played much better than he did last game. I'm talking strictly shooting here, by the way. Case and Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, they played so well around the arc that Shai's job was easy. You saw him driving into the paint, and Kenny Beecham said this on his podcast. You saw Shai driving into the paint, and he had like 6 different options. He could have gone up with it. He could have pulled up with it. He could pass it to somebody in the 3-point line. I mean, he could do whatever he wanted there, and that's never going to be a good position for the Pacers, The options were limitless. Another thing they did super well was out-rebound the Pacers. I mean, the Thunder did not need to be doing all that. They're the better team. And the Pacers should have been doing that because they know they're the underdog and they have to out-hustle. They have to get all those controllables on lock. But no, they didn't. They got out-rebounded. It was the fourth quarter. The nail in the coffin was seeing the Thunder miss and then thinking, oh, the Pacers could get this ball and make a run right now. But then it just ends up in a Thunder player's hands. And then they get another shot and they miss it and then they get another rebound. And like that happened one possession in like 4 minutes in the game. And once they made that final shot, it was game over for the Pacers. I mean, that's just how you know that you're done with the game. It's to be expected for both teams, for the Pacers to not play as hard because they stole game 1. And it makes perfect sense for the Thunder to come in and do what they did because they lost game 1. I mean, this was bound to be a Thunder win. But when we talk about the Pacers, I feel like this didn't need to be a loss for them. And Hallie really just needed to step up in this game. And this is where we're going to get into everything I talked about in the beginning. I feel like the Pacers' success came from using Hallie as a decoy and using him as a second, third, maybe even fourth option sometimes. But he doesn't need to be that way. And now that you're in this position, what got you to the finish line might not help you cross it. I think he has a lot of scoring potential. I mean, last game, in the fourth quarter, once he started heating up, he was pulling up from crazy spots. Like, he would literally run into a three-pointer, going down the hash mark, and then he'd make it. I remember one, he ran down to the baseline and faded away, a really hard fadeaway, and he made it. Other floaters and layups, tough finishes. Like, the kid is a scorer. He's an exceptionally gifted playmaker, but he's a very good scorer too. And I think using him a little more heavily on the offensive end, at least for a game or the first half, to make them adjust and allow you to play your game would have been a really smart move. And they just didn't do that. I don't know if it was a coaching staff problem. I don't know if Hallie just didn't have the confidence to get that going, but it needs to change. I think looking at the rim and being a scoring threat will make his playmaking game 10 times more open. We saw that with Shai today. That was the biggest thing. He did what Hallie needed to keep doing. Obviously, Nembhard was not as much of a factor from deep as he was the last game, and he was putting in a lot of hustle, which you can always expect him to do. but you want him to play up to his offensive potential if you're the Pacers and you want to win this series. Other than that, I really liked when Pascal got going and he got downhill. That's something I wanted to see more. I mean, they seemed like every time they did the right thing, they scored. They just didn't do the right thing a lot. And a lot of that credit goes to the Thunder defense. The Thunder defense was incredible last game. They were a lot more handsy and they were a lot more willing to look for the anticipation part of it. And the Pacers just did not really know how to deal with that. Obviously, it's the greatest defense I've seen in a very long time, maybe in my entire time watching basketball. I think there are ways to beat this defense that the Pacers could have used that they just didn't. And I'm sure there's going to be big adjustments made, and game 3 in Indiana is going to be so much better than what we saw in game 2. I don't know. I feel like the role players did a good job of keeping them in the game and making the timely threes to. I mean, the game stretched from 13 to 19 points for like a quarter and a half. There was so many opportunities for a team to make a run there, and it just didn't happen. And I think that's partially because they just didn't have the firepower behind Nemhard and Hallie to give them the put. I mean, you think of those two names and you think they're gonna give you something, and they didn't. So honestly, as much as it was a bad loss for the Pacers, there's definitely things they could improve that could have made that a win. I'm not too mad if I'm them. They split a game in OKC, and now they're going back to Indiana with a 1-1 tie. That's the best case scenario for them. Well, not the best case scenario. The best case scenario, they would have won this game. But they should be very happy with the location that they're in now. On a much more serious note, they need to do something about this trophy madness, man. Why is the trophy being hologrammed onto the court but not on the wood? It just doesn't make sense to me how they can make the in-season tournament courts so flashy and like dark red and bright green, but they can't put like championship branding on the courts for players' safety. I don't know about that. I don't know. Another thing I wanted to talk about is these in-arena fans for these small market teams, and they're amazing. This is where Golden State got their crazy fire from back in 2015. They didn't win a championship in 40 years. They were a small market team. But once they got to the finals, they were an unstoppable force. I mean, sometimes you look at the Thunder arena last night, they were like a sixth man on the court. Like, that's how good they were. Anyway, that's kind of all I got. If you like this video, please give it a big old like. Subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. This is the type of thing that you're going to be expecting from me going into the future. I don't know how to outro a video, so I'm just going to end it there.